Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Valecast. My name is Sil. Today I'm joined by Callum. Say hello, Callum.
Good afternoon, Simo. How are we doing, big man?
Very well, mate. Very well. Thank you for asking. How are
Good.
you?
Yeah, not too bad at all. Not too bad. Just recovering after last night's thrilling six-goal encounter over at Princess Royal Park. So yeah, I had to go and have a lie down after doing all the Twitter updates yesterday. But yeah, all good. Sun is shining in Aberdeen, so I can't complain.
Lovely stuff, lovely stuff. Before we get started and deliver your real business for this week, we do need to mention the show is brought to you by our partners Motive. So thank you very much for them bringing you this show every single week on Thursdays and Fridays, depending on the midweek fixture. I think we should talk about. Should we go to Inverness locals first, and then we'll
Mhm.
talk about our fixture last night. So you start us off, Callum. Did you manage to make the match? No.
No, so I was doing all the updates from home
Yeah,
the last couple of matches now. So big thanks to Emma who has been keeping my
a saviour.
WhatsApp invoice or inbox, I should say, full of all the updates from both fixtures. So no big help to us for that. So no big thanks to Emma for doing that for us because appreciate it. Sometimes you just want to go and watch the football, not have to have your nose in your phone. But she was there with every bit of action as it was unfolding. So. It seems like such a long time ago already now, the Locos match, but
It does, aye.
um, I think it's another first half killer, to be honest. It seems to be like we seem to be saying the same thing almost every week at the moment. It's just the first half. I don't know what it is. If it's we're just taking a bit more time to kind of come into the game, get more of a feel for it. If I know, obviously there was a change at the back line for the Locos match with James Connolly being ineligible to play against his parent club. So had a bit of a reshuffle there. So obviously with that comes a little bit of uncertainty possibly at the back. And I know we talked about it last week in terms of how that might look. But yeah, it just seems to be first half. I think the penalty that Locos got for their third, I think,
Mhm.
was maybe a little bit controversial from what Craig's been saying, but um, yeah, just another one of those games where we've just kind of come out of the traps in the second half and performed a bit better. Obviously, Dane had an opportunity at the end of the Locos game to add to his recent goal scoring run, but it was well saved by the Locos keeper. So yeah, it's disappointing. It's a tough place to go. Harlow Park at the best of times is a very, very difficult place to go where the chuff chuffs and all those guys banging their drums and making so much
Mhm.
noise. And I know it was quite a big community occasion for locals last weekend. We're giving away tickets and stuff. So fair play to them for doing that. Certainly something that we're looking into for a future kind of community day in the not too distant future at Vale. But yeah, just another disappointing Saturday, I suppose, which is not what you want to hear. But um, locals are a strong team. I mean, you look at the fixture list we've had. I think we've played near enough every team in the top four bar Fraserburgh, I think, so far. So we can't really complain too much about the results, possibly in some of those games. But I know Craig's been looking at performances and how we could lift
Yeah.
those. So yeah, just I think another one of those tales of a annoying first half, really.
Yeah, Locals sitting third on the table now, I believe. Fraserburgh sitting top of the league, undefeated yet, not yet to be defeated in the league after 6 games. Having a tremendous start to the season, Fraserburgh. And same with Locals as well, making themselves extremely
Mm-hmm.
hard to beat and being particularly lethal in the box as well. I mean, it's a difficult Saturday for us. When we don't start well, I think there's a chance we can break into it, but if we're going to come against one of those teams that are in the top four or that are having tremendous starts to the season. If we're not going to start well in the first half, we are going to get punished for it. And as we were on the day, we were punished for it, and then we go on to have an uplifting performance in the second half. Sometimes it's not quite enough to get you over the line if you're against one of these better sides in the league. Um, but thankfully for us, we'll move on to our second game. Then the locals game, what it was, it is what it was, and that is something we're obviously trying to eliminate from the game is starting games poorly. We want to get hopefully eventually onto and start as we mean to go on and not be chasing games in the second half as we are.
Aye.
Even though we seem to be pretty good at chasing games when we have that, they seem to be playing really well with the backs against the wall and the stakes are really high. We need to go and get a point from the game as we did last night where we played a really good Huntley side.
Yep.
Um, when it was 3-1, I thought, it's maybe out of reach. I think, but was it 3-1 at 70 odd minutes?
Uh,
Um,
yeah, something like I think it was 60 something minutes.
yeah,
The
so
second goal went in. So, but
we didn't
I
have a lot
mean,
of room. We didn't have a lot
yeah,
of room left in that match, and we didn't have a lot of room left in that 90 minutes to make up the difference. And we did.
almost nicked it though. Almost nicked it
Almost
towards
nicked it
the
as
end.
well.
Yeah, Grant Noble I think had an opportunity. Kind of 10 yards out or so that unfortunately didn't find the back of the net. But yeah, I mean a fantastic second half performance. Again, it's the same old story. That first half, to lose the first half 3-1 if you like, and then come out and win the second half 2-0. It really shows that that's maybe something we need to work on. Is kind of coming out of the traps a wee bit earlier and kind of putting teams under pressure, particularly when we're playing at home. I mean, Huntley have had a great start to the season. I think still undefeated themselves actually as well. So
I should
you
check
know,
for you.
so they've had a good start to the season. They've got a couple of former Vale players in their ranks now as well, who will probably given the inside track to their team as well. So yeah, can't complain. Can't complain. I think as we maybe put out a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek post last night in response to somebody's comment of, we play at the final whistle. We're not going to be down in tools with 20 minutes to go and just rolling over and accepting a 3-1 defeat at home. I think Ross Aitken had an absolute storming game by the sounds of it.
On the score sheet as well.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, his goal was a rebounded effort from a penalty. I didn't know he would have been on penalties, to be honest, but there you go. Captain Marvel can do it all, it seems. So so he got his goal. Was very unlucky not to be credited with the second goal as well. A 25-yard shot from him, cannoning off the underside of the bar and then bouncing off the keeper's backside and going in the net. So disappointing for him that he didn't get two. And then, of course, DB9 popping up with that equaliser with about 10 minutes to go or so. So yeah, seems to have been a really good performance at the front end. A couple of chances, as I say, on top of that. We had that kind of more kind of fixed back line that we've been seeing of late. Young Jamie Tinnick coming in at left full back, allowing Innes and James to kind of recontinue their partnership, and Ross back out on the right back slot. So yeah, I think Jamie had a really good performance as well. Another one of these lone guys that we've got from Elgin City, along with Matt Jameson, who seems to have become one of the first names on the team sheet at the moment, which is great to see from the young man. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, and good to see Sam Robertson coming back in at the starting 11 as well. And it was his cross that we got our equaliser from. So yeah, it seems a really good performance throughout the team last night. As I say, 3 goals that maybe on another day might not have gone in the back of the net, but something to work on, I suppose, during training this week and pick up again for Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Ross Aitken, grabbing the game by the scruff of the neck is the definition of what he's done to get us over the line there and get us something from the game. And the last thing we want is teams coming to Princess Royal Park and leaving with the points. You know what I mean? And us, going home with nothing. Obviously we started poorly, but big goals. From DB9 coming in to grab a fight equaliser. There's no way we can let Huntley go home with all the points there.
No.
There's not, especially where we are on the table. We currently sit third from the bottom, and in 16th place. However, that we're still on the points level with 13th place, who's Wick Academy, because it is so early in the season, only 6 games gone. Just a few of these teams just making themselves ever so hard to beat. Huntley are one of them. Locals are one of them. So if you look at our last 2 fixtures that we've faced this week, we've faced a local side and a Huntley side, both of them undefeated in the league this season. So it's not as if we're the only team that can't get by them, and we didn't lose to Huntley either. We're playing like the teams that want to be aspiring, and then we're coming on to play these teams that are in great veins of form.
I know we've certainly.
I just can't, Callum. When are we going to get a fixture where we play a team that's like just not having a good time at the minute?
One of the Diddy clubs. I don't know. There's not so many of them in the league anymore. That's for sure. So I mean, I don't think I've seen a harder start to a league season for the Vale. That it's just been club after club after club. we obviously got the win away to Nairn, and then picked up that point last night. So
Yeah, but
you know
when we
that's
went to
a
Nairn, wasn't it? They just had a change in management, isn't it? I'm sure they just had a change in management when we went to Nairn. Am I right?
I'll take your word for it. I know. So we've just had locos have had a change.
Or it might have been locals that had
Who
the
else?
change, or the aye. But we knew we had to go to
I'm
Nairn.
losing track. I'm losing track. The
Yeah,
management merry-go-round is well and truly underway
yeah, it's on the way.
in the Highland
It's
League. So
5 or 6 games gone. Everybody's hit the panic
aye,
buttons.
that's it. That's it. And you see new management teams at a number of clubs now that are just kind of settling in. Obviously, our own one is still getting used to each other and getting used to that extra dynamic of having Michael Morrison on the sidelines as well, who's certainly not a quiet character on the touchline, which is exactly what we need, I think. So,
I heard him all the
um,
way over in Inverness
I,
last night.
I know he's a gentle giant off the pitch.
um,
Really, really, I love the guy anyway, but a real gentle giant off the pitch. And then as soon as that whistle goes, he's back to how he was in his playing days.
yeah,
So, which is just what you would expect.
doesn't give an inch, does he,
So,
Mo?
no, some man, that's for sure. But no, I mean we've kind of played those kind of higher upper teams that we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks, and maybe kind of learned a few lessons along the way. I would say I think it's been a useful start. Obviously, you want to get as many points on the board as quickly as possible, but I don't think it's a bad thing having those teams at the start. We're now going to be coming into a wee spell of fixtures where we're playing the teams kind of in and around where we are. So we've got the trek up to Wick Academy for this weekend. I've got the fixtures just behind me on the wall there, so I need to go remind myself. But we will start. We'll throw in likes of Fraserburgh. We'll have away days down to Brechin and all that kind of stuff, and we've got obviously the Aberdeenshire Cup semi-final coming up. Next month as well. So I think it could be a nice wee flurry of fixtures where it gives us an opportunity to put some points on the board, get in a cup final, and really kind of end September into October on a good bounce.
I mean, absolutely. It's just we have maybe lacked a little work. Look, I'm so glad when we went in there and we came back with the points because we talked about near that time that it was ever so important that we did get points on the board. At that time, we had Brechin, and then obviously coming on from that, we've played games against teams in incredible form, but we've won our matches that matter. We are going into a semi-final on the 8th. We are a game off a cup final. Although the league isn't probably going the way we want it, and we never had any sort of aspirations of probably winning the league this season. We just kind of wanted to get this new management system, these new players gelled, get them playing well. I think is the objective for this season. Try have a positive season. I think the run into this season is the most important part of it, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely.
The start of a new sort of setup isn't necessarily the important thing because there's still lessons to be learned. We clearly need to learn a lesson on how we start matches. And how we approach the first half of matches, that is something that we need to improve on. And I'm sure Craig and Mo are going to work on that and get around the boys and they're going to find a solution to it. I completely believe that they will find a solution to that problem. But yeah, I think for me this season it's all about running. We're not going to get relegated because we're too good. In my opinion, we're too good a side to get relegated. Because I've seen us play in the park, and I know we're not far off it. We're almost there, and that's my opinion. Obviously,
it would be. I think for this group of players that we've got at the moment, and there's been a lot of turnover, as we know, from last season or the last season before that as well. New management team coming in, the structure that the club has got in place as well. I mean, I would say no team is ever too good to go down. In my opinion, we've seen that further up the leagues as well as. Kind of lower ends of Scottish football. But it would be desperately unlucky if this group of players were involved in that kind of relegation tussle. That's not where we want to be, obviously. Yes, our aspirations are maybe a little bit longer term in terms of breaking into that top 6, top 5 of the league, and that is a wee while away. But I think this season will come in. As I say, we'll come into this kind of early middle part of the season. With every optimism of picking up points, going away to teams, playing likes of Wick, as I say, this weekend, then we'll have the likes of Keith and Forest and Turriff, all these kind of teams will come up who we are more than capable of taking points from. Looking at the semi-final, we still don't know just yet, obviously, who our opponent's going to be. It could be Huntly. So obviously last night's performance is certainly setting a positive tone for that game if indeed Huntly do go through. Or for Martin. and we have beaten both over the last couple of seasons. This isn't 10 years ago since we last beat for Martin or whatever. We I think it was Christmas 2019, one of the last games I was at Princess Royal before COVID hit, obviously. So yeah, and we won that one in quite a thrilling encounter. So I think we have every optimism. We look ahead to these games, not expecting to pick up points, obviously, but I think on our day we've got every opportunity to be taking a good bunch of points between now and Christmas, and really kind of pushing ourselves away from where we are at the moment. Which, to be honest, is down to goal difference. You look at the number of points that we're on, the number of teams that are on the same points, and I think those kind of conceding 3 goals in first halves, which we've seen, looking at Brora, Brechin, Locos, Huntley, we're conceding a lot of goals. I think I maybe mentioned this last week. I don't think the number of goals we are conceding really tells the true story. We're not weak at the back. I say we've had a new goalkeeper come in who I've been mightily impressed by, and I wouldn't normally be impressed by goalkeepers that are letting in 3-4 goals a game. But I see a lot of promise there, and obviously the management team did as well. Otherwise, he wouldn't be at the club. So.
Yeah.
I think there's lots to be optimistic for with Sean between the sticks, and as I say, Gav's still a very, very able deputy as it is at the moment, and I know he'll be looking to regain the number 1 top that he had last season. So 2 great keepers, I would say. Our back line, I think, is the strongest we've had in years, to be honest with you, and that's no disrespect to the boys that have come before.
Well, I think
we've
our
had some
best
good
player
ones,
resides in our back line as well. So I'm still firmly of the opinion that Ross Aitken is the best player at the club. I think he could play football league like easily. We're so lucky to have him, and he's our difference maker. He makes a difference. Maybe if he's not in the park, we go home with nothing against Huntley if Ross Aitken isn't on the park. So
it was a real captain's performance that one last night. That's the thing. So no, I would agree. I think Ross a fantastic
so it's
player.
not necessarily a lack of quality in our back line. I don't believe it's just certain things just not going our way. Certain things that need ironed out.
Yeah. And I mean, that's putting, we're putting the eyes on the back line there. It's not just the back 4 and the keeper that concedes.
No, everybody's
it starts from the front. That's the thing. And Dane is obviously kind of back into the swing of things now, and you could see in the last couple of performances that he is starting to get back to that Dane that we knew before his injury, which is great to see. And he's running about the park now. We've got a midfield that has had a wee bit of chop and change, through injuries or people just not being available on match days and things like that. So, which happens at our level, that's just the way it is. So I think a little bit of consistency there, and the team lines, having looked at or having done the team lines the last couple of weeks for the socials and things like that, there's not been a huge amount of change. Particularly, like Ben Allen seems to have really nailed down that number 4 jersey. We've got players like Rory Davidson who can play both out wide and in the middle. Jameson, who I mentioned earlier, who's come in and performed well.
Came in recent times, hasn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah,
so I think
Bob and Dane have nailed down that sort of front line. So it's
we're almost. So, I mean, it's a strong team. That's the thing. And looking at the subs bench every week as well. It's a very strong subs bench. You look at players like Max Stewart and Matthew Wallace, who was quite a consistent starter for the Vale over the last few seasons. Fantastic player and a great young man, and he's not getting a sniff of the pitch at the moment. Like Hay, Grant Noble's been on the bench. Obviously, I think he started last night. I think, but
he's
it's not had a lot of good minutes.
From what I've read and the highlights I've watched, and when I've watched him live as well, I think he's definitely when I was at the game as well. So yeah, he seems to be nailed down for that sub spot. So that he'll be ever so close. He'll be expected probably. If he can put on some good performances when he does come on, it might get his chance, and there's a chance he could take it as well.
Yeah, exactly.
This is exactly what we want. Is these players challenging each other.
And I think there's competition across the squad. That's the thing. As I say, we mentioned last week, maybe up top's a little bit light just now in terms of options. Robert wasn't playing last night, so I would assume Grant Noble was more support in there. Rory Davidson pushing up as well, most likely. So it's maybe a position that they're looking at. I don't know what the plans are in terms of bringing in any new faces, or whether there's room to bring in any new faces at the moment. But we'll soon find out over the next couple of weeks, I suppose. And yeah, but as I say, as we kind of come towards the end of August, we've got obviously Wick this Saturday, up the road for that one, which will be a good day out, I'm sure. But if we look into September, I think there's a number of fixtures there that we can be pretty confident about. As I say, that throwing in the cup semi-final there for good measure as well. To be 90 minutes away from a cup final is not something I've experienced with the Vale. And as I say, the fan base and the club as a whole has seen success in that competition before, and we'd love to get our hands on that big trophy again. So it's an exciting month coming up, I would say.
Definitely, definitely. So, folks, viewers, Valecast, make sure you stay positive. We've got definitely a winnable game, or a game we can be competitive in. At the weekend on the 8th, we have a semi-final. We are one match from a cup final, so things aren't so bad here at the Vale at the minute. And in my opinion, I think the run of form, the run of games we've had to have.
Yeah,
it's been a bit ridiculous, if I'm perfectly honest.
it is. And we know that we've got to do it again.
The run of form, and we've got to do it again as well.
We've
And we
got to do
will
it
do
all
it
again,
again.
yeah.
And we'll step up, and we're not going to be rolling over these sides. But make sure you always stay positive. Thank you very much for engaging in the socials. Thanks very much for following on Twitter. We've seen a massive influx of new followers on Twitter, and thank you for interacting with us. Make sure you do subscribe and like the video here on YouTube. It really does help us out a lot. And we will see you next Thursday or Friday for another episode of Valecast. Okay, right, cheerio, bye.